Hi there, I'm Nyberg. Welcome to JagaVision, episode 110. Today is going to be short and sweet. We're going to be talking about cold brew iced tea, or cold brew tea, I guess is what we should be calling it, versus hot brew, and just kind of comparing and contrasting. Hot brew being just like the normal way of making it, and then cold brew being the sort of new. Well, I guess it's not that new, but it's new for the industry-ish, kind of. Well, anyway, it's not new. We're going to talk about what kinds of pros and cons you're getting out of both of those, and just have a little bit of a discussion about it. So if you're watching, please ask questions in the comment section. And even if this is an archive version of the show, we'll totally go through and answer those in the comment section. For those of you where this is your first time watching, episode 110 means that this is 110 weeks of JagaVision. JagaVision is put on by JagaSilk. I'm one of the owners. And we have guests on every week. Sometimes it's, I guess not a guest, but most of the time we have guests on. They're going to be from the industry. We're going to be talking about tea. We're going to be talking about stuff that's interesting over tea. And we're going to be having a good time. So you should go back and check out some of our old shows. I think you'll be really happy with the knowledge nuggets that you find in these shows. You can find us on youtube.com/JagaSilk. And you can go through and also find some informational videos or some technique videos, etc., for making teas and all that fun stuff. So yeah, we'll talk a little bit more at the end of the show about some stuff that's coming up as well. And so stay tuned. Short and sweet today, episode 110. So cold brew, hot brew. What are we talking about? So I'm gonna be let me see. I'm going to be talking to you using some of these tools here. I'm going to brew up some tea. That tea is going to be this Koucha Zairaishu by Kawakami. It's going to be made using more of a Chinese style. So I'm going to be brewing it using a gaiwan, which is this lovely little guy here. It holds about 70-80 mils of water. I like to brew it using, generally speaking, 4 grams of tea. And oh my goodness, these leaves are gorgeous. I don't know if you can see that very well in the camera, but I'll hold them up to see. There we go. There we go. Okay, so really pretty leaves. These have been hand picked by the Kawakami family. We had the most amazing time visiting them in 2019, and we visited them in 2018. I think actually we visited them at least 4 times now over the past few years. Haven't since the pandemic started, but oh my god, their tea is so good. And one of the reasons why it's so good, 500 years they've been, this particular village, 500 years plus has been creating teas. And essentially, the word mandokoro is, or the tea of mandokoro is mentioned in these sort of older, like an old Japanese song. They grow an heirloom cultivar, so they call that Zairaishu in Japanese. And Zairaishu is essentially tea that's grown from seed. So if you want to have similar genetic homogeneity between different farms, between different plants, you want to plant something called a clonal or a cutting or a sashiki, as they call it in Japanese. And you would essentially take some of the tops off of the tree that you like when it grows in new growth, and you would plug that new growth, bam, right into the soil. And you're going to be able to, with proper, drainage and all of the lovely, environments that particular cultivar is going to prefer, grow your tea plant. If you want to grow from seed, then you're going to let the trees propagate themselves through dropping those seeds as they produce them over the year, or you're going to actually physically take some seeds and you're going to plant them into the ground. These trees in Mandokoro are very old, and one of the things that they do is when they start to lose their flavor a bit, the farmers cut it right down to right down about like that far off the ground, and then it takes about 5 years for them to grow and produce that up a little bit. and turn into a tea that they can harvest again. But they're keeping them pretty much at waist height. They're not going to let them grow into full trees like you see in certain parts of China. At least that's not the standard in the community. And what they do as well is by growing this way, they can actually overcome the 2-meter snows. So if you grew something like Yabukita, which is a very ubiquitous cultivar grown throughout Japan, in this mountainous region of Mandokoro, at over 400 meters above sea level, with the snowfall that they get, the cultivars get crushed. And so if they're trying to grow this more, I guess, standard cultivar, it's just not going to work. But when they plant their native cultivar, they let it plant itself, they're going to develop these really deep root structures, and that's going to keep the plant alive even when they get flattened by the snow, to the point where, when the snow melts, they just spring right back up. Whereas if it was Yabukita, it would just die, and they spring right back up, and they're able to produce these beautiful teas. And in Mandokoro, they handpick. And it's one of the last places where people handpick. To put that in perspective, in a week, they get something like 18 to 40 kilograms. Whereas if you were going to be harvesting using like a tractor system, you could do easily a ton in a similar amount of time, if not way more. So the pure level of the pure volume that you can make is so reduced that even when you're selling it for top dollar, you're not really able to make a living doing tea this way. Tea used to be quite, it hasn't really changed much in price over the past 50 years. It's been, a lot of people are getting similar amounts of money as they did 50 years ago. So if the cost of living and the cost of everything else has gone up, but they're not making a whole lot more money, you're making, it's a lot more challenging. And you see, there's a good reason why people are just abandoning a lot of tea fields, and it's actually quite a sad thing. But anyway, Mandokoro, amazing. We're gonna try this as a gong fucha because I felt like I was getting so much out of it when I made it this way. So I'm gonna bring up my water temperature to boiling. I'm going to just put a little bit of hot water on top, and we're going to do what's called a rinse. And let me do kind of a closer up. Okay, and then I'm going to drain that out. When I smell it, yeah, I get that orange, floral awesomeness. I'm gonna also grab some cups here. And we're going to do a nice 15-second extraction, hot extraction. We're going to see what we can draw out of those nice orange marmalade. Let's say what we got on the bottle here. We got malt, bergamot, and dough. Okay, amazing. Let's see if we can get that out. So I stole those tasting notes from the hot infusion. So I'm going to see if that actually holds true on the bottle that I've bottled here. Okay, so about 15 seconds. And then, if you've seen in previous episodes, we were talking about how to use a gong fucha system, or to create gong fucha effectively. There's lots of different techniques, but I love when I'm using a gaiwan to hold it, pincher it on the sides, or if you hold it from the top and you're only filling it 80% of the way, even boiling water isn't going to hurt your hands. And then you kind of hold the lid down, and then when you pour, you're able to use the lid to hold the leaves back. This only really works for leaves that aren't as sedimenty as, say, a sencha, and it works better with a koucha or a crimson tea, or what we call black tea in North America. So I'm going to pour some of this beautiful tea into the tiny cup here. And I've always found it hilarious. I'm reminded of that conversation with Daniel from the Chinese tea company, the Chinese tea shop in Vancouver, how this kind of cup, which to me is quite tiny, it only holds like 60 mils, he calls a big cup. So little cups are when you really taste the flavor. But I get a lot out of this. Yeah, really beautiful smell. I can see where we're coming from with that bergamot and malt. Marmalade, though there's an orange element, and I guess that That's why we said Brew on. Yeah, we're holding up really nice. This is a 2021 harvest, but I think it's aging well. And with that deep root structure, it draws out a lot of really interesting minerals and sugars. They really come through in production. And I found I was drinking some old sencha. Normally sencha is only good for, like 12 months, maybe a year, right? And then you start to and that's if it's stored really well. And then you start to really taste that degradation of the tea. Some would argue more like 6 to 8 months in, you're already tasting that oxidation. They're so delicate, right? But these Zairaishu, these heirloom cultivars, seem to have so much more resilience. They do better with a longer extraction too, which is kind of interesting. And it's just a really, really, really nice age. So we had 2-3 year old tea I think we were drinking, and we were expecting it to be horrible, and it was fantastic. Probably better than it was when it was fresh. And you just don't see that with Japanese teas. This tea, from that experience, was thinking that even though it was harvested 13 months ago, it would still be good. And the aromatics, just beautiful. And so that hot infusion has really drawn out a lot of the characteristics that I'm hoping to get. So I'm going to compare that here to a bottle of cold brew tea. So I don't know if you can see that very well. Try and not get the light on it so you can kind of see the label. Maybe I can hold it under the light here. Yeah. So you can see the label upside down. Cold brew tea, Koucha Zairaishu by Kawakami. So this particular bottle is something we bottled for our musical tea series. So for those of you who are not aware what that is, we do this musical tea series in our courtyard here. Every month there's a Saturday where you can come and hang out, have a flight of cold brew tea as part of the kind of pre-release of this program, and it's paired with a different musician every month. Last weekend we had Matt Stern on, and he did a great job. We create these nice little booklets. Let's you can check out. They're kind of our programs. We talked about his story. You get to have a dessert, all sorts of fun things. Last week we actually paired his music with a sencha. We also had this beautiful white tea. We did the Koucha Zairaishu as the third tea. And I remember there was just so many interesting qualities. So I was tasting, though, a little bit of woodiness at the time. So I just wanted to see what that, comparatively speaking, what were we doing with our cold brew, and sort of compare that to the hot version. See if I could get similar characteristics. I assume there's going to be a lot of differences. Yeah, it smells almost grapey. So the process for making this cold brew is we do, essentially you take 850 grams of water and you put it over 40 grams of tea, and that creates a concentrate if you let it brew for a couple days with cold water in the fridge with the lid on. And then when you go to drink it, you'd want to dilute that with 1/4 concentrate, 3/4 cold water. Oh, looks like my guest has joined. Okay, fantastic. Just one moment. Hello. Welcome. Hello. Can you hear me okay? Okay, amazing. So, for some reason, it's not showing my video. I don't know why. I am live, yeah. So everybody can see you, but they can't see me. Weird. Yeah. What are you drinking? Okay. Okay, amazing. Let me see this. Camera failed. Okay, let's try that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually pin you to the screen here, and I'm going to try and do a different layout where I make this smaller. Spotlight. Let's go to Spotlight. There we go. Okay. Okay, we are live. We have Sister Speak joining us for the last 5 minutes of the show here, which is awesome. You're just back from a tour in Germany, and I guess you're gonna continue that tour. So that's pretty exciting. We were actually just talking about the musical Tea series, so it's kind of nice. We were just showing off. So you're gonna be joining us for the next one, which is gonna be on August 13th. So pretty excited. Yeah, and you're bringing the band and all that fun stuff. So yeah, I was just talking to people watching about the differences between some cold brew and some hot brew. So maybe for the last the last 5 minutes we got here, I'll quickly just do that. And then you're in North America now? Or are you still? Oh wow. You're on the airplane. You just landed. Okay, that's amazing. Wow. Okay. Very cool. Well, welcome from the airplane as you've landed. That's so next level. So, where are you on your tour next? You're in Vermont. Are you in New York? What's the plan? Amazing. Okay. So I just realized that the whole time you've been talking that nobody can hear you. So I'm just going to quickly, they can just see you. So let's see if I can't make that work. So you want to say hello one more time? Hello? Test?
Hello.
Okay, now they can hear you. Okay, so so to answer my question, you're in New York right now, but then you're going to go to Vermont, and then if you continue, and you're literally in an airplane. That's the other thing that you said. So
I'm literally in an airplane. Yeah, I got an N95 I don't know. Well, this is from Hungary, so I don't get a good candidate right now. It's nice.
Okay.
But I'm playing and make some matcha in this bottle. Shake it up with New York water. They have good water.
Okay.
German airline.
Amazing. Okay. Well, so when you're, I love it. Is that German playing in the background? So I was just,
German voice.
I was just explaining to people watching that I made this hot brew of the Koucha Zairaishu, which I think you've had before. And then I was comparing it to this product that we're kind of pre-releasing at the Musical Tea series, which is these champagne bottles filled with beautiful Koucha Zairaishu. And I just wanted to taste and smell kind of the difference between brewing it hot and brewing it cold, and what that did, and kind of like the pros and cons. And so I thought that was really fun. So we have this champagne glass. I was just about to sip it when you joined, so I'm just going to give it a little taste.
Yummy.
It's really nice.
You're having sipping some tea to German.
That's right. and it's really nice. I think I have that malt, I have that bergamot, I have that kind of orange thing. Yeah, I think that when you brew cold, what's kind of cool, Cher, is you gotta
Sorry,
go.
everybody's clapping. No, everybody's clapping. So I don't know why, but I just started clapping, but it looks like I'm hitting my phone. So.
Okay. That's really funny.
So the cold brew, yes.
Yes. So it draws out different flavors. When it's a cold extraction, you get more fruit and florality. You don't get as many of the bitters, which is really, really awesome.
I love that. That's why I'm excited to make some cold brew matcha right now.
You do it. Okay. And then maybe not on the plane, though, eh? Or did you have to remove the mask for eating, I guess?
No.
Yeah.
No, water is delicious, so I'm gonna fill the bottle. It's got this bottle I brought from Germany, Gerolstein water. So I'm gonna fill it up. Someone's hold on. There's some stuff going on around me here.
Nice. Okay.
But yeah, really looking forward to the tea in a little bit. And then I can't wait to get back to the tea cupboard.
Amazing. So next week, we'll be joined by Charles. We're going to be drinking the matcha that we milled together. So that's going to be really fun. So have a matcha ready, and we'll have that discussion. We'll drink some matcha together.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for joining from the airplane. That's pretty awesome. So people can go check out your music, sisterspeakmusic.com, and follow you on Instagram there and all that fun stuff. You have any final things you want to say before you go, or can we still hear you? I think we lost you. Oh, yeah. Hello. Oh, there you are. Okay. We can't hear you, but thank you for coming on and making a brief visit here from the airplane. That's pretty awesome. Goodbye, Sherri Anne. Oh, there you are. Okay, we can hear your voice. Okay, peace and love. All right. Bye, Sherri. See you later. See you.
Good night.
Awesome. Okay, so that was Sherri Anne joining us from the airplane in New York, and pretty stoked to have her on for that brief moment. I wanted to just wrap up today's show with just a quick talk about just the difference between these two teas. I would say that I get more malt out of the hot infusion, and obviously I get a little bit more out of it in terms of steeps, right? Because with the cold infusion, I was saying I do that concentrate, but for bottling, I actually just take that recipe in mind and then I bottle it. We pasteurize it though, so there's an opportunity there for it to last a really long time. Really 2 years out of the fridge is what we learned from when we were doing this in cans, and we believe we can repeat that with the hot brew in the or with the cold brew in these bottles. So anyway, gonna finish this extraction, get another taste of the second infusion here, or another taste of this tea via the second infusion would be more accurate. And again, yeah, really, really, really great nose. When we were doing these in cans, I found that the CO2 was interfering with the aromatics, and you didn't really get a nice finish. You didn't get a really nice nose. Whereas when we're bottling, when we're bottling them in bottles instead of canning them in cans, I think we don't have to use carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide was required before because if we didn't use it, it would just be too. Yeah, it just wouldn't work. So, yeah. And I'm just finding it a much nicer selection as a bottled beverage rather than a canned one. But yeah, really nice nose. A lot more delicate, like a lot more subtle, like right after each other. I think that I have to kind of like sit with it, but I think drinking it out of a champagne flute is pretty fun, and that lets you just kind of let it warm up in your tongue. I think when something's really hot or really cold, it's really hard to get any sense of real flavor. But when you let something that's really cold kind of just hang out in your mouth and warm up on your tongue, that's when you start to really taste a lot more of what it has to offer. And I love that this offers a little taste of that fruitiness. I think that it's not as strong. Like the crimson teas are generally the ones that have the hardest time coming through in a cold extraction. But it'd be interesting to see. We have another one coming up actually. It's the Chilan. It's called a Juicy Peach by the farmer. That's probably going to be our first batch that's a little bit more volume, scaled up a little bit. And that one will be really interesting to see as a kind of instead of a 2-day extraction, we're shooting for a 4-day extraction. So we'll let you know how that goes. Regardless, thank you for watching JagaVision today. Next week, we're going to have Charles back on for part 2 of that conversation around milling matcha here at JagaSilk. So we milled some matcha together via the JagaVision, and Charles was participating in that, and we're gonna talk about it. So, at any rate, we have run out of time today. So thank you very much for watching. Again, if you want to check out these shows. Sister Speak, August 13th. Martin Bonham on the 3rd. Steve Schmiller is opening for Truth and Dolphin, which is my band, on October 8th. You should totally buy tickets online, JagaSilk.com. Go to shop and then click on live music, and you're going to be able to get the tickets. So, yeah, huge gin release happening on the 23rd. So that's coming up real fast. So there's tickets on our webpage for this one as well. But this one's on Bowen Island. So if you want to go head over to Bowen Island and you want to grab some gin that's been made by Copper Spirit using their usual awesome ingredients, combining it with a feature sort of duo, the duo being the tencha and the yuzu. And then they're going to, or they've already made it, and it's apparently fantastic. I haven't tasted it yet. And then we're going to do the first taste paired with music by my band Truth and Dolphin. So you can come check that out on the 23rd. It's going to be 7 o'clock. Tickets for all of these are $25. The Sister Speak show is $30. She's bringing over a full band, so it's a little bit more expensive, but it's going to be worth it. And you get a flight of teas that pair with the music, as well as a dessert for these JagaSilk shows. So for the musical tea series, I really encourage you to check it out. So next week, Thursday, 2 o'clock, we're joined by Charles Antoine, and we're going to be talking about the matcha that we made last week. Previous shows you can check out on our YouTube channel. If you're watching YouTube, awesome. You might be watching this on Facebook, though. If you go to youtube.com/JagaSilk, you'll be able to catch all the archived episodes. If you click subscribe and click the notification bell, then you'll know when we go live, and you can join us. Don't hesitate to ask questions in the comment section. We will do our best to answer them all the time. And appreciate you watching. I'm Jared Nyberg, JagaSilk. Go to JagaSilk.com, and we will see you next week. Thank you. Goodbye.